To improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often. Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk. Wow, you guys have been absolutely amazing, giving us so much love, so much support over the last few videos, and we appreciate every single one of the views that have been coming our way, but we just want your help to just share it with your friends now and tell everybody to subscribe to our page, Asian Sunday Online. So, let's move on to our next episode. This episode, I have a very, very exciting guest. Most of you will know about money matters. When we talk about money matters where women are concerned, people normally assume it's to do with shopping. But let me tell you, it's not just to do with shopping. Women are very, very good at managing the home. And obviously, there's many women like me who also manage a business like this. So my next guest, however, is one step further. She not only manages her home, she manages her business, and she manages other people's business as well. When it comes to tax affairs, there's nobody better than my guest, Ramen Haire. So let's meet her. Hi, Ramen.
Hi, Fatima.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Here you've had a very busy day doing some very detailed VAT returns.
Yes, VAT return deadline every quarter. It comes up and it's, you know, a bit of a rush to get all clients' affairs sorted and things. But yeah, got there in the end and got here, of course, with you.
That's good, that's good. So how does it feel to be out of the house after so long? You were sharing just off camera what it was, you were feeling like, should I be coming out or not?
Really strange, really strange. Walking out of the door, I had to kind of think twice. Should I be going? Am I okay to go? Obviously, you know, really glad to be happy to be out of the house, really. So
That's
yeah.
good, that's good. And I'm glad that obviously your COVID questionnaire came back all approved and everything as well. So
No COVID.
so good to see you. So good to see you, can I just say. Even though it's a distance, it's really difficult, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
this is harder.
It is hard.
When you
not
meet someone and you can't, you
just
know...
hug automatic
Exactly.
reaction is to
Yeah.
hug and say hello.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Very difficult. But if the roadmap happens, as it should, then, Ramen, we might be going out for a coffee
I know.
in a few months' time.
I know. Hopeful.
That's going to be amazing.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So anyway, we're not here to talk about coffees and all of that. We're here to talk about you and you being an accountant. So you're pretty glam for accountant, if you don't mind me saying. I don't know.
I am today.
I haven't met many.
Not normally.
Many. You know, when you think of accountants, you think of normally men
Yeah.
in suits, and you know, very sort of. The impression I would say is boring.
I get that told a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you meet you completely sort of
Yeah.
break the mold. What made you go into accountancy? Why choose that as a profession?
I like to think that I do break the mould and I do get told that. Accountancy, at the start, it's something, the idea was presented to me at university when I had a friend who worked for PwC. And she used to do work placement during her university holidays. And I used to overlook the work that she was doing and, you know, going, oh, what are you doing there? And she was like, oh, I'm doing a project, I'm doing this. And, you know, and I did quite a few accountancy modules as well. And I realised that accountancy isn't as boring as people, you know, think. There's more to it than just, you know, a set of accounts and, you know, numbers all over the place. And, yeah, you know, they don't mean much to us and it's boring and all the image. And it really interested me when I got down to looking at figures, and I'd get engrossed in that, you know, set of accounts. And I'd start interpreting them and thinking, what does that mean? So what does this show? Is this business a good business? Is it a bad business? And what are the signs of a good and bad business as well? And I was just really intrigued by it all, and I would get lost. And I was quite geeky as well, I would say.
You don't look geeky. Let me just tell you that. I don't know if there is such a look for being geeky, but anyway.
Yeah, but I was very geeky, and I was so into my studying, in my own little world, you know, and it just started from there, and it was just something that I couldn't stop. It just gradually got, you know, part of me, really. It is a part of me.
So you like playing with numbers, or you like playing with the real thing, money?
I would like to play with the real money more. Yeah, I mean, both, because they both go hand in hand.
Of course.
Obviously, a bank account, it might not be real money at the end of the day, but it's money. And the thing is money is so important because it can restrict you so much, but yet when you have money, it can open up so many avenues. And, you know, if you were to speak to a business, the financial side of it is a big, you know, picture and a big part of their planning. And if they don't have those resources, if they don't have the cash flow, if they don't plan things right with the finance and investing money, then, you know, it's the difference between success and not being so great and not managing to get over certain hurdles. For example, coronavirus is a big, you know, example of that. The businesses where they've been really stringent and they've had, you know, I always say cash is king. You know, it's a common phrase, isn't it, that everyone uses, but really cash is king when it came to coronavirus, because those businesses that were cash rich had that kind of backup. And it just goes to show, you know, that as you have to have a contingency plan, and also know that in that contingency plan, how are you going to pay for things, to, you know, pay for a downfall somewhere, or if something doesn't work out as planned. And we all know life doesn't, you know, work out as planned. Things happen, you know, and we lose money. Something breaks down, we lose money. It's a big picture.
Yeah.
Really.
Money management isn't just in businesses, though, is it? Money management in households as well is quite crucial. And especially, like you said, in the times that we're currently living in, you know, people's incomes have been, you know, reduced because they've perhaps gone onto furlough, or perhaps they've lost their jobs, or perhaps they've had to change jobs because certain roles were no longer available because of the pandemic. Do you ever find you giving advice to people how to manage their, you know, money in their homes as well as an accountant, or is that something that's not sort of, you know, being taken up yet? Because I know that you probably would be able to, you know, help a lot of people out, especially in current climate.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, accountancy, I don't see it as just part of your business. It feeds through to your household income. Everything infiltrates. I don't think you can. For instance, I work with other, you know, business owners, and they will always tell me the bigger picture of what they want to achieve. Because I can feed that into their business and plan along with them, and even get outside help if needed, like a financial advisor. I can kind of, you know, put them to places where you can get additional help. Well, if you want to do this, there's this option. And it's about giving people the financial options, and for them to also look at their finance long term, not just for today. For instance, some clients will come to me and they'll say, look, I'm planning on moving house in quite a few years, and I want to make this amount of money. I want, you know, to be able to get a mortgage for this amount, and we need to plan for this. And I'm like, right, let's do that. And you know, I've kind of become, I do become like their go-to, I suppose. As an accountant, it is just not, it's your business and that's it, you know. You can go away after that, don't ask me about anything. It's not like that. And the advisory role of accountants has become even more prominent than before, a lot more prominent. So that's something that you can't ignore. And, you know, and I openly discuss things with business owners and
Yeah. So let me ask you then, you must have obviously observed the recent budget announcements by our Chancellor. What are your comments on that?
First of all, it was going to be a balancing act for Rishi, and I was like, I would have been surprised if they'd increased taxes and things like that. So I kind of knew that they wouldn't do that for this year because, first of all, it's been so tough for everybody, and it would have been the wrong thing to do. But at the same time, we have the COVID financing and the schemes that the money has to come from somewhere, you know. And I think at the end of the day, he's balanced it in the best way possible. Obviously, corporation tax, which is going to increase for limited companies in the next few years, I think that, you know, at the moment, that feels like it could be a bit of a hit for limited companies, becoming, you know, less of an advantage going forward, I think, and people are thinking about that more. But there's 130% capital allowance, like the super deductions for limited companies, which is coming up. Apart from that, really, I don't think there was much changes because he didn't want to rock, you know, the system too much at the moment. And I think it was the right thing to do, not to do that, not to increase other taxes. Obviously, there was a lot of talk about increases in other things and whatnot, but I think it was a balancing act, a tough one, actually.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to people at home? Because obviously, as we mentioned, their incomes have been drastically changed as a result of the pandemic, and there's a lot of people who are struggling at the moment. What tips and advice would you give to them at home in terms of managing home finances?
Yeah, so difficult position, obviously, because a lot of people have found that their household income has drastically dropped, along with kids at home as well. You know, you're feeding them constantly, which I totally know about. What I would say is shop around and use, you know, vouchers and things, and shop around, do your insurances, always shop around for those. I mean, there's things online that you can use where you can compare, you know, for your finances, and just do an overall budgeting exercise and look at your bank statements and look at every element of your expenses and think, right, what can I do about that? What can I do about this? And how can I even entertain the kids on the cheap? I mean, there is so many ideas online. There's a Facebook group actually for lockdown tips and things like that for entertaining kids as well. Just using craft things at home, and you can have so much fun. That's the whole thing, that you don't have to spend an arm and a leg just to, you know, do things with the kids. There's so many home activities. I know my kids have been baking loads, and it's just keep the home happy. You know, be creative, do things like that, and also take that time to analyze your spending. When you're going out for a shop, take a list. Things like electricity and gas. You can have a look, again, shop around. The rates are changing all the time, and if it's been a while since you've changed and looked at these things, don't ignore them. I would say you can get so surprised about how much you can save in a year and so. So I would say, and it takes time and effort. That's the thing with these things. They do take time and effort, but they do pay off. And I would advise to actually sit down and do that exercise. As you know, you might be alarmed at first at how much you spend, but you know, you can do something about it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. And if not, people can get in touch with you.
Yes.
So now that we know a little bit about what you do for a living and how good you are with accounts and financing, let me ask you a little bit about your early years. So, born and bred Bradford, I presume?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, Bradford through and through.
Ah, fantastic. Girl after my own heart. So tell us a little about, your schooling, your early years, going to school. What kind of a student were you?
Geeky student. Just really geeky.
You love using that word to describe yourself, don't you?
Because it just sums it up so well.
Geeky student.
I was very
Far from
shy.
it.
I would say I was very shy.
Shy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was shy, geeky. I did as I was told. I was the eldest of 4 sisters. Well, I've got 3 other sisters.
Three
so
sisters,
yeah.
right, okay.
So there was 4 of us.
No brother.
Girls, no brother. Yeah. And I was the eldest, and I suppose there was the expectation that I have to be good and do all the, look after the siblings, and there was a lot of that because my mum and dad ran their own business. So I did a lot of the kind of, bringing them up and giving my parents a hand a lot at the beginning as well, in the early years. And I suppose that's where, hard graft kind of comes from. It was in me from the beginning. I always worked hard. I knew nothing came for free because I saw how hard my parents worked. And that generation in general, I know, worked so hard to get our generation to where we are. That's why we can build our businesses and, take things further. But I think that was really my early years, to be honest. Yeah.
Make it sound so boring.
It was.
I'm sure there isn't.
It was.
I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure I could find something that's interesting. So your parents had, what kind of business was it?
They were in the food industry. So they worked their way up. First of all, my dad worked for restaurants. Then he owned his own restaurant.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then he went into the catering industry. So he had his own catering business as well. Which
fabulous.
This is why probably my early years were boring, because our 6 weeks holidays were spent helping them out.
Which part of helping out did you do? The eating or the cooking or the cleaning?
Well, if I was going to do the helping out, cleaning and whatnot, peeling like onions and crying, I was going to do the eating as well.
I need an onion peeler.
Brilliant at peeling onions.
Oh yeah, fantastic. I'm definitely coming over. I hate. When I cook, if it's one thing I absolutely hate, it's the onion part.
Yeah. My kids just run out of the kitchen when I start peeling the onions. They know.
I can't believe it. I join them. So obviously you used to help in your family business. Did you do any cooking yourself?
Yes, I love cooking. I've learned a lot of my cooking from my mum.
Really?
Yeah.
Not from your dad, who was the entrepreneur and the caterer? Yeah,
my dad would do the cooking at the restaurant or the catering business, but once he came home, but he did do some cooking in the early years to give my mum a hand as well. My dad wasn't one of those that wouldn't do it at all, but he was so busy with the businesses that later on that he didn't have the time to do it. But pretty much.
I would say that was awesome to have a father who could cook, because it was quite traditional growing up in the 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
And to have a father that can cook and cook professionally, I was like, wow.
Yeah. No, there was always food around, and lovely food as well. It was fantastic.
So parties at your house must be amazing. Yes. No need to hire a caterer. You've got
It's
everything.
yeah. Lovely, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I still, now and again, I'm like, Mum, I need some samosas.
Really? You still use the family catering services?
Yeah.
That's a perk,
Pretty
isn't it?
much.
Definitely. So tell us about, obviously, after your schooling, you married, you got 2 daughters.
Yeah.
So tell us about your family life. How did you meet your husband?
It was an arranged marriage. So an aunt introduced me to Jaspal, and we just hit it off, really. And yeah, it just happened so naturally. It didn't even feel like hard work or, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it just happened in the blink of an eye.
And you've been together how long?
Oh, it'll be 19 years this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
19 years.
19
Because, you know, like, there's this, as soon as people say arranged marriage, it comes with negative connotations, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah, it
arranged,
does.
and you're Asian, and you come from...
Everyone, when they hear arranged, their kind of eyes pop out a bit, and they're like, arranged.
and obviously yours, and I've met your husband, and I've seen you guys together, and how much support he gives you, and, you know, to run your own accountancy firm, you know, must be amazing support to get you to that. So when you say arrange, I think, you know, that those negative connotations that comes with that word, you obviously prove otherwise within your relationship. At the time when it was happening, how did you feel about the fact that, you know, this marriage was being arranged for you?
I asked for it to be arranged.
Really?
Yes. So my aunt just mentioned it to me, and I was like, well, you know what? I'm ready to meet someone. I don't mind being introduced to someone. And I didn't have any kind of, I want to meet a guy this way. I didn't have any restrictions in my head, you know, that it's a bad thing. And
so you weren't swayed by the Bollywood love stories that it has to be like this, and somebody's got to cover.
Even though I watched loads of Bollywood. I watched loads of Bollywood. You would have thought that would be the case.
Yes.
Yeah, you know,
you're very much living in the real
world. In the mountains, in the snow, with a sari.
No song and dance.
Yeah, no, I wasn't, funnily enough. I think back to it sometimes, and I think, wow, how did it all happen? Even, like, you know, but that's what I think the beauty of the situation was I didn't overthink at the time. It just felt like, yeah, I'll do it. Kind of casually, just was so blasé about it in a way as well. But I knew as well that it was the right person for me because we clicked and we have kind of the same values as people. He's, again, I'm going to use the word geeky as well. So we can sit there and talk about certain things for hours, and, you know, we won't judge each other. I think you're sad.
Well, you just called him geeky, so you just judged him. I'm joking.
Yeah, probably. But I judge myself as well, so it's all good. I'm geeky, you're geeky. It's fine.
Fantastic. So, and you've got 2 daughters, So, any plans for them in terms of going into accountancy or going into his business or your father's catering?
So many options for them,
isn't there? As we do with Asian families, you're going to take over.
Yeah. As a joke, I do say it to them now and again. Yeah, I was just saying it today. Says, do you want to do my VAT returns for me? Yeah, no. At the moment, I think they're very young to kind of decide what they want to do. You know, when you're younger, you think of careers that, I don't know, to be honest, I say it when they might be far-fetched, but you never know. I think, you know, one of my daughters, she says, she wants to be a footballer, and another one wants to be a gymnast at the moment, whether that changes or not, you know. But I think it is good for them to find themselves.
Yeah.
And not to just think, right, my dad does IT and my mum does accountancy, that we have to go down that avenue, and to burden them with them thoughts and restrict them in their learning. I think they're at the age where they are finding themselves, learning about themselves, what they want to do, what they enjoy, what they don't, and just being kids. And I think that's important, especially during lockdown, where it's been, quite tough for kids in that same environment, day in, day out. So I think we haven't kind of told them, you have to do a certain thing, or you should do this, or you should do that. We kind of let them discover, what they enjoy. I think probably, I don't know if it's healthy or unhealthy, but they've got into gaming more during lockdown. But that too is good in its own way for the brain. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Seemed like a very sensible and responsible family.
We have our moments.
Can you tell me more? That's what I want
when
to
they
hear.
misbehave.
That's what I want to know.
When the rooms aren't clean. That's what every parent will say.
The usual parenting.
Yeah.
Which reminds me about parenting during lockdown. Obviously, parents have had it quite tough. You work from home, you run your accountancy firm from home at the moment because of the restrictions, but your kids are home as well. They're home learning, so you've been doing lots of home schooling. How have you juggled it all?
I don't know how I've managed. We've just had to manage. There's been no option.
Yeah.
There's no get out. They're there and you have to do it. And yeah, it is a bit of a juggling act. And there's been times when, my daughters might be stuck on something and they might need my help, or my husband might be on a call, and we can't, answer them straight away. But I think the kids have learned as well how to just wait, and they'll, watch a YouTube video in the meantime. They've got ways to keep themselves occupied. They'll be like, oh, they're distracted right now.
I will do schoolwork.
Yeah.
Look at this.
So, but then when we get a chance, then we see to the work is done and things like that. And even sending work to the teacher, things like that, making sure their reading's up to scratch as well. It's been tough. It's been really difficult.
Yeah.
I think every moment of the day as a parent during lockdown, you've felt like you've had to either be working or homeschooling. And that time for yourself has been eaten up in a way. But I think, you have to make a point of, I'm going to have just an hour away from it all. I'm going to shut down my laptop. I'm not going to look at my emails,
Because it's quite easily done. I mean, being a business owner myself, not being able to switch off when it's your own business, because you think, I'll just quickly do this. And that quickly turns into a couple of hours, and it could be turning into, a late night email that you're drafting to people, because you're working at home, everything's within arm's reach.
It is. It's so easy.
So, yeah.
So easy to just go, I'll check my emails, or I'll just put a response for so-and-so, and I'll do this. And but I think you have to mentally make a point and just say, I'm not going to. I refuse to.
Yeah.
I've started to do that more and more. I think at the beginning of lockdown, because we didn't anticipate it going on for so long.
Yeah.
I think, we were like, work, and we'll get our break. And I think that's kind of never happened.
Yeah.
And you just kind of constantly, then you think, right, you're burning out, you need to, and I think a lot of parents are going to be feeling like that.
Yeah. And what, how do you know when it's that moment when you are burning out, and where is your go-to place to be able to get yourself lifted back up and re-energized out of it? What do you do? What are your...
I like to work out.
Yeah.
But at the moment,
you can tell.
Yeah, I don't think I've been working out as much as I should be, but
If only our viewers know how old she is. She looks really young, doesn't she? It's because she keeps fit.
I don't feel young. So I like to, when the gym's open, I can't wait. I miss my gym classes and things like that.
Yeah.
But that would be my go-to escape, a Zumba class or something like that. It just lose lose yourself.
Yeah.
Or a Netflix series. I know everybody loves the Netflix at the moment.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that we can do.
Yeah, definitely.
What?
Or
yeah,
watch
those are the
Let's
things.
Talk.
Yeah, or watch Let's Talk. Fantastic. Yeah.
Thanks. So you sound really excited with that. Thanks, Robin.
No, I'm being honest.
Okay, if you say so.
I don't get time to watch even Netflix. That's why.
Oh, well saved. Well saved.
Oh.
So, swiftly moving on. Let's. So, obviously, Boris has put a roadmap out, and he believes, if this roadmap happens according to what he's projected, we could get our freedom back by June. So, when we do, what's the first thing you're looking forward to doing?
Oh wow. I don't actually know because I haven't thought about it.
That is a bit of a difficult question, isn't it? Because we used to be so used to planning our futures, and all of a sudden lockdown happened, and we've stopped planning. We stopped thinking about the future.
I think the reason to that is I'm not planning because I feel like it might not happen, so I'm not anticipating anything.
Getting your hopes up.
Yeah, and then being run down with it, you know.
Yeah.
So.
But don't you think a bit of hope is
mechanism.
good?
Yeah.
To have that little light that, I'm looking forward to when it comes.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I'll try and plan something.
Oh, see.
Thank you, Fatima.
It's all right. I'm always the person that's the reason for giving people hope.
You are?
Or something to think about most of the time, isn't it?
No, it's good. You give loads of food for thought.
Food, yeah.
Food, literally.
Literally. For those who know, they know. But yeah, no, that's interesting that you've obviously not thought about, that. Because, naturally, things like holidays with the children, you've probably not been able to do any of those things.
No.
Take them out. Even a simple thing like a coffee, like we, friends would be out having a social get-together, just, meet up for a coffee. We've not been able to do any of that.
No.
So there's so many things that we'll be able to do that we took for granted that were things that were within our reach that were completely stopped.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's difficult to plan. I don't think I've thought about it. Yeah. So I will though. And you'll be on my list to go out for a coffee.
That's what I was really waiting to hear.
Yeah.
That's the real thing that I was wanted to hear.
I can't wait to go out with Fatima. And that's true
for a
as
coffee.
well.
Is
for
it?
A coffee, yeah.
Okay.
I just don't want to put my hopes up because it may not happen.
Right,
and then I'll just be miserable again.
Viewers, you all heard it there first. She can't wait to go out for a coffee with me. So there we go. On record.
Nice one.
Yeah, that's it. You can't hide now.
Might even stretch to a meal.
Oof. This is getting good. So, in terms of if you looked back at this past year, obviously it has been a whole year of pandemic now.
Oh, wow.
If you reflected and had reflections on this whole year, what would you say is the most important thing that you've learned from this?
I think it's listening to everybody's inspiring stories has been a big, touching point, really. The fact that humans can be so powerful and strong and resilient through something which has been, which has turned life upside down. And I think it, on a personal level, the people that have been suffering from COVID, businesses who have been suffering financially, the way that everybody has kind of been brought together to help each other out. And that kind of human relationships you wouldn't have seen in normal life. And I think as awful as the situation's been, there's been such heroes that have come out in this situation that all I can be, I think, you just feel inspired from all the amazing people and the good work. That the most memorable moment would have been when lockdown first happened. Just the whole shock of the news and adjusting to the new life, you know, being indoors for that amount of time, homeschooling in the schools and everything. It's adapting to the everything being brought into the home. I think that was the biggest memorable moment. I don't think anybody would be able to forget, you know.
Fantastic. Well, it's been memorable having you here. Thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
for
us on
having
our yellow couch. And it's just been so good to see you after so many months, probably a year even, I would say. Most of our interactions have been on Zoom and stuff, haven't they?
Yeah.
So, you know, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you, and I wish you all the best. And also, thank you so much for supporting all those businesses through these difficult times. I think without you accountants, without, you know, the support, because you've had to do more than your normal duties in terms of helping them navigate through what they can have access to and how they can, you know, survive their businesses through this very difficult situation. So I would say that you're one of our little heroes as well.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks so much for the support as well. And it's been a pleasure helping all the businesses and having supportive people like yourself. And so many other women, you know, have inspired me in business. And I'll keep doing what I'm doing, really. And thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.